Do you think your parents found the American dream here?
Um, it's hard to say. I mean, I have my kind of perspectives of whether or not that's attainable or not,
Uh-huh.
living here in the
Mhm.
context of the United States. And, I grew up knowing the American dream to be like own a home,
Yeah.
have a family, own property, own a car,
Mhm.
stuff like that. Um, I think my family really struggled and continues to struggle to get by living here in the United States. And so to say that they've achieved the American dream based on how I remember it to be told to me
Uh-huh.
um, is not exactly how I see it. I think my family, really came here as immigrants not knowing a lot about how to adjust to American culture.
Mhm.
Um, you know, just because you leave a particular country and enter a new one doesn't necessarily mean like old issues don't don't go away.
Yeah.
There's realities here that I think maybe wasn't really understood when they moved here in the first
Yeah.
place, such as like going back to the American dream of like a better education,
Uh-huh.
better opportunity. Um, Education I think was great, and my access was decent given that I went to public schools. Um, but again, that has been under constant attack in these last several
Yeah.
years as well.
Mhm.
So the access to quality education is not necessarily what we remembered the American dream to paint it to be.
Mhm.
Public resources are things that are accessible in some areas, not as accessible in other areas. Um, and so, yeah, I think that those are very real conditions that I think my family had to struggle through
Mhm.
um, to get by here in America.
Yeah. Were your parents also sending back money to the Philippines while they were here?
Yeah, I think earlier on
Mhm.
when they were younger, again working in Alaska was kind of their way of earning some really quick income, um, so that they were able to kind of support family that were still kind of like waiting to be petitioned to be
Mhm.
um, uh, to to immigrate here to
Okay.
the United States. So they were supporting family back home in the Philippines. But there was also, a good kind of percentage of the family already here
Mhm.
because they came in waves.
Oh, okay.
And so my mom and my dad, and during their younger years, were um, financially kind of supporting two families in two different countries. So my dad, for the longest time, worked in kind of a packaging warehouse,
Mhm.
dealing with clothing.
This is in SF?
This is in San Francisco,
Uh-huh.
yeah. It was a place called Uber International, and it was kind of an international kind of distribution for clothing. Um, so he worked there for many years. My mom kind of followed the steps of her mother, my grandma, um, Lola, and she spent a good amount of time working in like hospitality,
Hospitality? Okay.
uh, hotel industry.
Uh-huh.
Jumped from various hotels at the time. Um, so they were doing that for a long time. Then eventually, the warehouse that my dad worked at for a long time closed down, and he voluntarily opted for the layoff. And then he worked for another kind of large chunk of his time, maybe about a decade to almost 15 years, I would think, actually, as he worked as a maintenance worker at 24 Hour Fitness.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then my mom, at that time, found the job at the local Jungle Fun and Adventure, which was right off of 9th and Harrison, and it was kind of like a discovery zone with like animal jungle theme. So she worked there, kind of serving pizza and giving rewarding prizes to kids that win tickets,
Uh-huh.
like She was
Okay.
doing that for a long time.